Hello Internet! Welcome to my first ever vlog. My name is Maria, I am 21 years old and I live in California and I love to read lots of different things. I am starting this to talk about books that I really enjoy reading, and maybe books that I thought I would enjoy reading and ended up not enjoying very much. I want to talk to you a little bit about what types of books I like to read and sort of my plans for this channel. I like to read a lot of different things. I read a lot of fantasy and science fiction, mostly fantasy nowadays. I really enjoy epic and high fantasy, medieval fantasy, historical fantasy of any sort. My favorites are probably The Lord of the Rings, epic gloriousness, including The Hobbit and some of other Tolkien's works that were set in Middle-earth. I also really enjoy The Chronicles of Narnia, Harry Potter, and Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. That is one of my favorite ever books, I think, even though it's really long and it has footnotes. It's like this thick. I also really enjoy reading about Arthurian legend and myth and basically anything that is sort of epic in scale or even not so epic in scale. Aside from fantasy, I enjoy reading mysteries and thrillers and sometimes romances as well. Some of the authors that come to mind as I'm just listing off these things that I like to read are Neil Gaiman, Terry Pratchett, Georgette Heyer, who else? Michael Crichton occasionally, and yeah, I will go through libraries a lot and pick books that seem interesting, and I try to read a wide variety of different things because I don't really know what I like, and it's usually a surprise to see what happens to turn out to be really cool. I also like to read some classics and nonfiction books as well. My favorite classic authors are probably, off the top of my head, Jane Austen and Charlotte Bronte. And also I really enjoyed reading Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes and all of that goodness. So I plan to use this as a place to talk about books that I have read recently, or books that I really want to read, or books that I have sitting around that I have read before. I hope to be regular-ish about this, since I don't really know how busy my schedule is going to be this next semester. I'm thinking maybe every 2 weeks that will give me at least a chance to read one book or something of interest that I can talk about. Oh, and I forgot to mention I will occasionally read poetry, and I haven't seen a lot of poetry videos, so I'm excited to bring something new. If it is new, I don't really know. I've watched a few videos now. Not a few, but a lot of videos now, and they seem to be mostly focused around young adult, which I really enjoy also. It's just whatever strikes my fancy. So without further ado, I'll talk about some of the books that I plan on reading first, and hopefully something is interesting that I will totally tell you guys about. So first off, I have Alfred Lord Tennyson's The Idylls of the King, which is basically a collection of poets about Arthur and Camelot, and there's also other poems that are not related to Arthur in here. I am going to read this and somehow find my way back to the happiness that is Merlin, because I saw the series finale and was very sad. Also, The Once and Future King and The Book of Merlin, which are also Arthurian stories. These are, I think, classics of Arthurian literature. They're sort of, well, classics in the way that everybody has heard of them, and The Once and Future King is one of the things people refer to Arthur as a lot. So I read these a long time ago, but I will reread them because it has been a very long time. Oriole Rising by Elizabeth Redfern. I don't really know what this book is about, aside from the fact that it's a fast-paced historical thriller, and it's set in London in 1609, and there's alchemy and murder and all sorts of good-sounding stuff, so I look forward to reading this. The Last Sulky Child by Jane Yolen, another book of poetry. This is a very small book of poetry. It's so tiny. And this is a book of poetry that is based on fairy tales or myths, and Jane Yolen is a prolific children's author, I believe, and These poems are very short and cute sounding, I think. I've read a few of them. There are also probably ones that are less cute in here, because fairy tales tend to do that to you. So I'm looking forward to this, and I think I might read this first. For some nonfiction, I have Letters by James Hutchinson. It's about a history of alphabets and letters. So it starts off with like cuneiform and Phoenician alphabet stuff to the typefaces that we have here with random bookmark things. So I'm looking forward to this. Michael Chabon's The Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay. I have heard a lot of good things about this. I am currently on page 122. I kind of got distracted in the middle of it, and the beginning sounds really interesting though, so hopefully I will find that it picks up and gets really exciting soon. And finally, I have Transformations by Anne Sexton, another book of poetry, another book of fairy tale related poetry, slightly darker because these are Grimm fairy tales, and Anne Sexton is also sort of a dark author, or dark poet, I think. So this should be interesting. I've read a few of the poems already, and they've also been, they have a nice rhythm to them, and so I'm excited to read the rest. So, yeah, I think that's about it. If you have any comments or suggestions of things that I want, that you think I would like to read, or anything else, I would love to hear about them. I like book suggestions. I'm also planning on keeping a Tumblr to go along with this, and that will be in the description below, somewhere there. Have a happy first month of January, or first month of 2013. Bye!